Alright, let's see. Thomas Sowell, Barbarians Inside the Gate. Peter Unger, Living High and Letting Die. This is a book that I read in one of my classes in college called Political Philosophy, I think. Basically, this guy makes the case that anything above what we need must, as a moral necessity, be given to everyone and anyone who needs it anywhere in the world. So I don't even know where to start with this book. Fortunately, by the time I read this, I had already read Ayn Rand, and I was immune to it. But I don't even want to go into it because it's just depressing. So let's see, Nicomachean Ethics by Aristotle. Check that out. That's another good one to read. Judgment Day, Nathaniel Branden. Let's see. On Hallowed Grounds. I don't even know what that's another one of the books that I inherited. Don't really care to read that, actually. Charles Murray, In Our Hands. Icarus Fallen. This is a very good one. This is by a French author. This is another thing about about postmodernism and basically about the implications of postmodernism. This is a very good book. Another one that I got for the one that I'm writing, and I've also marked it up all to hell. Icarus Fallen. It has not been a very popular book at all. I was lucky to be able to find this copy. Let's see what to do. Let's see, The End of Time, Objectivism, Philosophy of Ayn Rand, Conflict of Visions, Thomas Sowell, Will to Meaning. Let's see, Democracy in America, Anthony Robbins, whatever. Blind Watchmaker. Could barely see that, probably. There we go. Blind Watchmaker, Richard Dawkins. The Greek Way, Edith Hamilton. I think I got that for like $2. Culture of Narcissism. I got that because I thought it might have something to do with philosophy and postmodernism, but basically it's just saying we're too egotistical, so hell with that one. Let's see. Poems by Rumi, forget that. Built to Last. That's another kind of a business book. I have no intention of ever going into business, really, but it's interesting to see how these things work. And Happiness. A History of Happiness. Going back to the Greeks, this is probably pretty fuzzy for you, but this is a really good book. I actually only got about halfway through, but it's very interesting. It's about people's different attitudes toward happiness and what happiness entails throughout history. It's very interesting. Yeah, I think I only stopped reading it out of inertia. I think I just got sidetracked. But yeah, that's definitely something I need to finish. Let's see. Book on nihilism, but this is kind of a dumb book, actually. And Sounds of the World's Languages. That's an old college textbook. Test of Courage. This is by a guy, Michael Thomas. I first became aware of this guy through his language courses. You can find them particularly at Barnes & Noble. They always have Michel Thomas. He teaches Spanish, French, German, and Italian. And the way he teaches it is just phenomenal. I mean, in most language classes, they will start you off with phrases like, hello, how are you, my name is, how do you get to the train station, and crap like that. And it is just not how our brain processes language. And what he does is he takes the most commonly used words and he strings them together. He teaches you them one at a time, and he has you construct sentences using only the words that you know, and it just knits the rules of grammar and the vocabulary right into your brain. It's really great stuff. And anyway, this guy was in he was a Polish Jew in World War II. He actually lived all over Europe, but he was in the French resistance against the Nazis, and he was captured twice by the Nazis and sent to concentration camps twice, and he escaped twice. And he's had really the most phenomenal life. He died just a few years ago at the age of like 90. He was in his mid-90s, I think. But anyway, this book traces a lot of what he did and the things he was able to accomplish. Just phenomenal. I mean, it's really one of the most extraordinary biographies I've ever read. So I highly recommend this, The Test of Courage, written by Christopher Robins, just like Winnie the Pooh, I suppose. So over here, Guns, Germs, and Steel. This is a great example of what not to believe under any circumstances whatsoever. I mean, this qualifies as horror files kinds of things. Actually, I recommend watching the video that Brandon Cropper made on his other channel, Cropper B, on Guns, Germs, and Steel. It's just the introduction is so bad that I mean it's comically bad. So anyway, let's see. Moving on, Inside American Education. I haven't read that yet. This is from Thomas Sowell, written in the 80s, I think, actually. So it's kind of dated. So I think that's kind of making me hold off on it for a little bit. And let's see. Losing Ground by Charles Murray. This was one of his earliest controversial books. It was against the welfare state. This was in 1984, and a lot of people have credited this book with the reform of welfare in, I think it was 1995. So let's see. And The Poverty of Welfare. This was put out by the Cato Institute. Another thing that I haven't read. Anyway, let's see. Study Methods and Motivation. I didn't really like it. This is by Edwin Locke? Yeah, Edwin Locke. He's a head guy over at the Ayn Rand Institute, but I didn't really find this very helpful. Basically what I needed in college was a reason to study, not, you know, a guide for how to manage your study time. But whatever. I mean, I guess if a person needs something like this, it might work. Whatever. And over here is a really thick book. I got Women Without Superstition. I got this during my sophomore year of college, when I really had gotten onto my atheism kick. And this was put out by the Freedom from Religion Foundation. And this has a bunch of essays by women in like the 1800s who wrote against theism in its various forms. So that's kind of interesting. I got signature from the author. But anyway, actually there are more books than this, so one more second.